I'm Doug Massey, and today I'm going to be going over several reasons why most insurance agents really don't make a lot of money. And believe it or not, it's not because the leads suck. Let's start with a like, and I do suggest subscribing if you're new to the channel. We're putting out insurance agent content and final expense sales training videos like all the time. As someone who is all about having access to what I believe in is having that plug and play system or platform, let's talk about how this is really important for most of us. The old school way of doing things, and I hate to say it, it's still being pushed by most insurance agencies, is this stale mentality where you buy these really expensive direct mail leads cards each week, you call to set the appointment, and then you go to make the face-to-face sales presentation. And guys, if you stick around until the end of this video, I'm going to show you how to get access to both the free new agent telesales file. This thing has sales materials for your digital life insurance agents, and I'm going to show you how to get a copy of the final expense telesales presentation script too. Just hang around to the end of the video. There's nothing wrong with this whole concept, this working the direct mail leads thing. It does work for some agents. However, there are some things I gotta say, you gotta consider. First, there's a learning curve involved, just like with any type of life insurance sales process, right? However, the fail is that most agents in today's economy don't have thousands of dollars laying around to invest into leads, and in many cases, they don't have the time to invest into that learning curve. And for those who don't mind the grind, putting the wear and tear on their cars, they're doing hours of driving on their field days, there is still the issue of, the money not being there. That's important. Most of the successful field agents only make around like $40,000 to $50,000 per year. I hate to say it, which is really why telesales can be such a game changer for the right person. I know our top producers, the ones that do telesales, they earn a lot more on an average basis when you compare them to really what we used to do when we were really big into face-to-face sales, when that was still peaking out. And don't get me wrong, guys, we still do face-to-face sales. It's just a lot different nowadays. Bottom line, using old, outdated methods to sell insurance might still work for some, but they really aren't no way near as cost-effective and time-effective as the modern ways of selling, basically being a digital insurance agent. Your typical modern insurance agency will have a system for their agents where the professional salespeople can really work from home and still have a really nice, lucrative income. The key word there was professional, which I'm going to address here shortly because, guys, this is really important. But first, I do want to talk a little bit about mindset for the individual who's kind of used to earning $50K a year versus someone who, is used to making $150K a year or more. That type of person who's actually willing to do whatever it takes to get there. There's two categories of people that I feel like you don't hear a lot about. Category one is the employee, and category two is the self-motivated independent insurance or business owner. Over 90% of the workforce in our country are more successful when they're employed and managed. So they're being held accountable by someone, and they're required by someone else to do specific things each day. And yes, most so-called independent insurance agents do belong in that category one. The thing is, without the accountability of someone else, they tend to do very little or not enough to have real success. So basically, the employee and the person who must be employed to be successful does what they're paid to do, or they don't get that guaranteed check each week and are basically asked to go somewhere else to get paid and work. These are the people who are usually in that lower income category, and they're grateful to get that $50,000 pay. That yearly salary works fine for them. It's a guarantee that they'll learn to accept, and therefore they make it work. Category two, the business owner. These people understand that there is no such thing as a 50-hour work week, let alone a 40-hour work week, if you're gonna make at least 100 grand a year, potentially a lot more. We work every day if needed. We put in over 12 hours per day on average if needed, especially, when it's that time of year. And we accept the fact that struggle and sacrifice are part of the deal. We have high expectations, and we expect to be the best at what we do, or at least in that conversation. Struggle, sacrifice, These are normal for us, and this can go on for years too. Trust me, I spent years running my insurance agency before there was any profit involved in the agency part. Years of late nights, early mornings, long days, stress, worry, struggles, wrinkles, you get the idea. Now, let's talk a little bit about skill set, talent levels, professionalism, and those type of categories. I like to categorize things because it makes it easier for me. If I were to put insurance agents into 4 categories based on like all these things, let's say skill set, talent, and professionalism, of course, I'd say you have the novice, the intermediate, the professional, and then you've got that top tier elite closer. The novice, basically someone who is new and just entering their sales profession. The intermediate, most insurance agents fall into this category because they've never really been able to develop the skill set necessary to get into that third professional level, but they'll all tell you they're professional. Meanwhile, they're really like novice intermediate. They're just not willing to accept the struggles and the sacrifices, and they tend to move around from one place to the next, to the next, to the next, always hoping there's just gonna be an easier way. This place is gonna be the next right thing. The third category, the professional. The true professional is someone who tends to figure out a way to succeed. Most salespeople that I would, put into this 4th category tend to have a good part of the puzzle figured out, or at least most of the puzzle. However, they're just not at that elite top level for one reason or another. A lot of the professionals have the skill set, but not the work ethic. They'll sound great and be able to do the tasks at a high level. However, maybe they won't sacrifice the extra time that those top tier elite closers are willing to sacrifice. Or maybe they sacrifice the time and they put in the extra work, but they're just not quite talented enough. Still, they make it work. They usually earn more than the average salesperson in their industry. They're kind of in between that, I want to say that 50K a year to 100K. Maybe they're like kind of in the middle there. And of course, you got the top tier elite closer. That's the guy or gal who puts in the sacrifice. They develop the skill set. They've got both an answer to most situations, and they usually have that little something special that makes them elite. In professional sports, you've got those top level starters, elite, explosive, they're unique, and then you've pretty much got everyone else, in professional sports. In our industry, you've got those top 10% earners, the top tier elite closers, and then you've got everyone else. What about the industry? Do I dare question that the insurance sales industry as a whole is potentially failing most insurance agents? I've been talking about the individuals in this industry and why most of them are only earning what they're earning, and it's not much compared to those of us who are actually kind of running the show. And I would say I'm a good example of this because as an owner of 2 different insurance agencies, I literally am competing with myself to do that. We've got the independent agency where the agents have to commit financially every week. They got the bigger contracts, but they pay for everything. And then you've got the people with a different mindset. They want the free leads. They don't want to pay for everything. And that's what that platform is designed for. It's basically life insurance who either don't have thousands of dollars to invest, or they simply won't make the financial sacrifice necessary and or need to be micromanaged. A lot of them, they have to be managed or they'll fail. Of course, I don't believe that I'm failing the industry because I truly believe that we have the best of both worlds. But what about other agencies? I really think that most insurance agencies are owned and run by people who are just fine with knowing that their system is going to fail most people. But that's acceptable to these agency owners because at the end of the day, it's still lining their pockets. That's their primary purpose, to bring money to them. That's normal. All humans have to do that, right? Some of the things that I'm talking about, though, are the way that they won't release agents' carrier contracts, even agents with like 0 risk or debt, the way that they lie about how anyone can work their way up to the top level commission contracts. Does this sound familiar? Meanwhile, those levels are literally impossible due to the agents having multiple uplines and downlines in between them. It's just crazy how they do that, but they do. How about this? Just a few weeks ago, I'm interviewing an agent who got into the life insurance sales industry because he answered a job posting. And guys, we're talking not like a normal job selling insurance, but this position required him to fill a seat at a multi-level marketing insurance agency's convention. The agency he needed people to fill seats in order to look bigger than they actually are. When he told me who the company was, I was blown away. They've got that 4 initials acronym MLMs. This company's been around for like 15 years. So part of their attraction is a full-blown lie. They tout and brag about how so many people are successful. They want you to go to their events and look around at all the successful people. It's a lie. Maybe 1 out of 10 people at that convention was earning a decent living. Probably not. I would say most of them were earning less than 50 grand a year. I know that's not good, but it's probably pretty accurate. When you add it all up, there are a lot of reasons that most agents don't earn much money and tend to move around from agency to agency to agency. It usually has nothing to do with the leads. If you'd like a copy of both the remote sales presentation script and the free new agent telesales file that I mentioned earlier, just email me at doug@ufesonline.com. If you'd like information on working with one of our platforms, whether it's Medicare or final expense telesales or face-to-face, just shoot me an email at that same address. As always, when you put the needs of your clients first, everything else will usually fall right into place. Now get out there and whatever you do, make sure that you do something good for someone else today. Happy hunting.